You get that a lot, right? It's the idea that you're a dummy for believing in religion. And the truth is, all of Western civilization is based on a Judeo-Christian value system. It hasn't sprung up anywhere else. I mean, there are tons of cultures all over the globe, and none of them have the kind of civilization America does. And America, by the way, is still significantly more religious than Europe, which is not coincidentally one of the reasons why we are significantly more powerful than Europe.
Okay, so I've had to say this quite a few times, so I've decided to do a little chart here. So the first Americans fled Europe because Britain had a central church that basically you were forced to follow and be a believer of, and they were, victims of religious persecution. Now, what is church? What is church a part of religion? Christian. That means it is supposed Judeo-Christian values, right? Well, the Americans who fled that, the first Americans who fled that, their whole purpose for leaving was because of those values, quote unquote. And they sought out specifically to make sure that the same thing didn't happen, and they did exactly the opposite. There are many founding fathers who stated the exact opposite, that no, it is not a Christian nation, and that no, it is not founded on Judeo-Christian values. And this is just something that's massively embarrassing here. And did you really just make lines between Europe being less religious than America, and that's why America is stronger? I mean, this is so stupid.
So, when they say that you're a fool for believing in God, the truth is that belief in God is belief, right? You have to take a leap of faith.
This is such an embarrassing argument by somebody whose supposed mantra and saying is that facts don't care about your feelings. This guy has no facts, and he's going all the way for the feelings and taking this leap of faith. And this is something that Ali Rizvi has also said, a guy who, claims facts don't care about your feelings, but he believes in religion.
It can't be proved. It can't be something. It's not something that you can make a scientific hypothesis and then fulfill that hypothesis. But atheism can't be proved either. And there's no way to prove these sorts of intangibles.
This is probably the most embarrassing and easily debunked argument that I've ever heard. And this has been repeated many times, atheism can't be proved. Atheism is a lack of belief in gods. Now, the burden of proof falls on you as a religious person to prove that God exists. So you can't prove a negative. So I tell you, right, I say, hey, I rode a magic carpet to your house yesterday. I knocked on the door and I left. And you say, prove it. I say, no, you prove that I didn't do it. Well, how are you supposed to do that? You can't. It's impossible. You can't prove negatives. The burden of proof lies upon you. And this is, again, probably one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard. It's not something to be proved. It is the lack of belief in what you are asserting.
What you can say is, here is something that is unquestioned and undoubted. Judeo-Christian religion has created the foundation for the greatest civilization in the history of mankind, and ripping away the foundations of that civilization on behalf of a philosophy that really has never built anything without those roots in Judeo-Christian. Atheism, modern atheism, has its root in Judeo-Christian religion. It does. It doesn't exist in the Islamic world, right? Modern atheism, the freedom to be an atheist, only exists in the West. It only exists in the Judeo-Christian world. The freedoms that the left bases its whole worldview on are within a milieu that was created by a religion it despises.
Actually, there are atheists in the Islamic world, and they are often jailed and face massive punishments, and if they're not, they're often closeted. So atheists do exist in the Islamic world. Now, the freedom to be an atheist has nothing to do, and I repeat, nothing to do with this Judeo-Christian values, which, again, it was not founded upon. And again, I keep having to say this, but the first Americans came from Britain, which was, they had their central church, and it was it's Christian, it's Christian values, right? They didn't allow you to be an atheist. They literally left because of religious persecution. So you're just dunking on yourself.